This presentation will cover the importance of research for contemporary geography and how this is conducted by human geography lecturer Dr. Carrie Burton. We will begin with an overview of what research involves, then introduce Carrie and her research methods, before explaining how this and research as a whole benefits the discipline. To begin, research is vital to any academic, essential when understanding a specific field of geography. As Kat states, quote, "We are always already in the field." Across all disciplines, research is used to further knowledge or education, such as part as a dissertation. Alternatively, research can be used to benefit society, with increasing information around climate change and how to reduce vulnerability discovered by researchers and scientists. Human behaviour can also be a topic of research, with many engaging in issues such as encouraging people to be more sustainable. While some may find the concept of research overwhelming, it helps students to actively engage with their subject, as mentioned by Flowerdew and Martin. Research papers written by professional geographers can also be used by students for educational purposes, assisting their knowledge development in the subject. It can help students demonstrate the skills and methods they have learned, of which there are many. Research can be undertaken through a variety of different methods, as prescribed by Kitchen and Tate, changing based on the subject or type of project being worked on. Primary research is taken on by the researcher themselves. In physical geography, this is often quantitative, involving the measuring of erosion rates or counting the amount of vegetation in a quadrat, focusing on numerical values using specialist equipment. In contrast, primary research in human geography can include surveys or questionnaires, gathering data on a specific area and how people interact with it. Interviews and focus groups are also common methods, involving one-to-one detailed interaction with people to gather a deep understanding of their views. Much of this primary research involves a risk assessment to highlight any hazards that could occur, such as getting injured or encountering unpleasant members of the public. When questioning people directly, ethical considerations need to take place. Asking people about a sensitive topic should be carefully considered, ensuring questions are worded in a way that will not upset them. Secondary data involves using others' previous research to inform your own, as well as checking your accuracy. This is done by reading papers of other academics, particularly those with prestige. Most research will involve a combination of these methods to create an unbiased fact-check conclusion. These methods are demonstrated clearly by Dr. Carrie Burton, the lecturer we interviewed about how she does research, who Amber will now discuss.
To gain more insight into the research of geographical knowledge, we interviewed Dr. Carrie Burton, a lecturer in human geography, about her research methods and what it has meant for contemporary geography. Carrie Burton is interested in environmental activism and defines her field of research as the relationship between the environment and society, particularly in the social and economic practices that impact the planet and environment, involving resource management and sustainability transformation. We interviewed Dr. Burton about her research on circular approaches to eliminate plastic waste on a paper called Slowing the Loop, the role of grief and hope in building new economic spaces. Through this interview, we could ask her about her own research and reasoning behind choosing this topic and the processes she and her team went through. The research started by looking into how plastics in the seas affect different marine life. This was founded by a conservation group in Penryn, leading to an interest in the rise of plastic-free towns. This topic area focuses on the role of emotions, particularly how grief can cause civil society to contribute to slowing the circular economy, which is the topic area that Carrie is passionate about as it focuses on sustainable transformations. The reason she participated in this topic area was that she could provide a social science view to the project. This paper was a group project across multiple disciplines, such as her partner, Joanne Smith from the psychology department. Researching emotions affecting the environment is an example of how contemporary geography is mixing more disciplines to broaden the research field. Carrie worked with scientists and material engineers whose ideas she could take further. For Carrie, the significance of this area to contemporary geography, particularly human geography, as she stated, was the mixing of physical and human geography, as she called it, a hybrid or nexus. This paper is significant in contemporary geography as it helps people understand why groups and individuals are participating in sustainability, giving geographers insight into why people have agency to help and the type of environmental issues causing people to want to make change. Interviewing Dr. Burton, we gained insight into the methods of research and data collection for geographers.
Collecting data is essential for any research project, but there are many different methods of doing this. During our interview, Dr. Burton explained that the specific methods of data collection she used were workshops, desk research, visiting involved places, and using social media. By considering findings from each of these areas independently and together, it gave in-depth insight and knowledge of the specific area. Workshops bring together diverse groups in a space where opinions and ideas can be shared. Dr. Burton brought together active networks such as Surfers Against Sewage, the National Trust, the NHS, and others who are actively involved in conversations around plastic pollution. Through activities and conversations, understanding was gained about their behaviours and actions in the area. Desk research consisted of finding data about groups through platforms like Google and social media. Alongside this, reading papers, published works, and attending conferences of other academics in the field helped to inform the research and gained a deeper understanding of complexities and processes. She also visited areas in the southwest to see the actions of the groups that had been researched and spoken to, which helped to place knowledge and understanding. Social media was a key tool for understanding diverse opinions as this research focused on the role that emotions play in people's actions. This digital social data can be beneficial in understanding social processes and motivations, but it needs to be used with caution and consideration of context, as it offers selective accounts of selective stories, as said by Clifford. It is important to consider the ways in which research is approached in practical senses of methods and personal philosophical and ethical approaches too. Philosophical approaches consider the individual belief about the way in which information should be gathered, analysed and used. Dr. Burton explained that in our interview that she prioritises deliberation and dialogue and is committed to participatory work. This approach is in line with anarchist philosophies and radical geography, as she is focused on transformation through taking action and creating change rather than reflecting on the past. This relates to Oswin, who explains how some research actively challenges contemporary geographical knowledge and biased structures that are embedded in the field, showing how research is useful in cultivating change. Ethics is a fundamental part of research and ensures safety and trust among participants and researchers alike, as well as securing the ability to conduct future research. It can be complex and situation dependent. Within the interview, we found that Dr. Burton's project wasn't high risk and didn't have many issues with ethics. However, there was a legal aspect in standard university policy of proceeding through an ethics panel about how to retain information. Alongside this, personal ethics as a geographer are key. She highlighted that her personal ethics revolve around ensuring that people have access to the work and findings, which is beneficial for creating change. A way in which she fulfilled this during the project was by keeping open lines of communication and making reports so that all involved could see and follow the progress. These are all valuable factors for researchers to consider, alongside the process of collaboration, which we will now talk about in further detail.
Collaboration plays a major role in both doing research and producing contemporary geographical knowledges. Firstly, as discussed previously, this can be seen in workshops and activities done by Carrie Burton with people who are active in the field of plastic. In addition, collaboration often occurs in the writing of academic articles and journals. In many cases, the academics who work together actually work in different fields. This is because they are able to achieve more working together than they could do alone, as they are able to combine their respective research backgrounds, shown by Reaver and Vpond 1989. This situation is similar to the one of Carrie Burton, who worked alongside an expert in psychology, Joe Smith, in the writing of her article. By doing so, she was able to merge and create new ideas from the separate disciplines, in particular looking at behaviour change around plastic waste. Finally, the peer review process has long been central to academic writing and involves assessment by independent experts in the field after submission. First, they review the originality of the article before specialists in the field check its relevant detail and accuracy, as stated by Ali and Watson 2016. In Carrie Burton's case, the experts on board were mainly plastic scientists and polymer chemists, funded by the UK Research Board. Here, they provided valuable constructive criticism to support her article. The success of research projects such as Carrie Burton's can be seen in some of its impacts. Laws around single-use plastics have been adjusted, partly due to the Minister of the Environment attending some of their meetings. Meanwhile, some of the people engaged in the project were hired for an initiative on the circular economy and the NHS, aiding in their efforts to achieve a goal of net zero. Furthermore, plastic research has started to expand in the university, and plastic groups across the UK have started to come together with the aim of further progress in research in this field, especially centred around plastic alternatives. Looking ahead to the future, Carrie Burton spoke about trying to work with someone she met during her research, Rob Thompson, who works in plastic pollution in the sea, and the use of fishing nets to catch this plastic and recycle it. By promoting this method to people in harbours, the hope is that more help and passion will be put into reducing plastic waste. Both for Carrie Burton and other plastic-based projects, there's a clear aim for continued activism in this area. Moreover, with the goal of increasing teaching on plastic pollution, there will be a clear pathway for future generations to continue researching and acting to help solve plastic waste issues, thus helping to produce contemporary geographical knowledges.